Room for One, Please, by Timey-Wimey Lord. I'm not sure what to call this room. Hell seems like a fitting name, though I'm fairly certain I'm still on Earth. Hell on Earth. How do I describe the room I keep finding myself in? Well, there's not really much to describe. It's not an especially big room, just enough to hold a few household appliances and some furniture. The walls are a pale blue-gray, and while I can ignore the complete lack of windows, the fact that there is never a door is the bane of my existence. There is, quite literally, no way out of this room. I still remember when I first woke up in this room. There was nothing there but me, the walls, the ceiling, and the floorboards. Naturally, I was confused at first, and attempted to find some way out of this prison. Perhaps it was just some cruel joke played on me while I was drunk, or maybe it was just a dream. However, it soon became apparent that neither of these theories were true. I was trapped in this square cell, cut off from the outside world. I shouted for help, banging my fists against the wall, but to no avail. Nobody heard me. Naturally, time took its toll on me. I grew hungry, and I grew thirsty, but no matter how many hours passed by, no supplies were dropped off. Not that I expected them to be, but all I could have done at this point was hope. Regardless of this dire lack of provisions, I continued attempting to find a way out, hoping to God that there was some secret switch or button that needed activating. As time went on, though, and as I weakened, I began thinking that I wouldn't be able to get out. But there was nothing to do but continue anyway. It wasn't like I wanted to get stuck. Hours passed, and with no bed to sleep on, I was forced to rest on the floor. I would have wept, had I the energy. Instead, I simply lay there, in desperate need of a toilet, or variations thereupon, trying to see if the ceiling had any answers for me. None came to mind, however, except for the fact that my bowels felt like they would blow at any given moment. I did not know how I got here, or what kind of depraved monster would get pleasure for doing this to me, but I couldn't let them win. I couldn't let it end like this. Unfortunately, it didn't end like I expected it to. Me, alone in the room, cold, thirsty, starving, soiled, and with personal hygiene down the pan. If I recall correctly, I was clawing desperately at a wall, begging to be let out, tears welling up in my eyes as I tried to fathom just who or what could do this without they themselves breaking down. What really made it worse was that I knew nobody would miss me when I was gone. No family, no friends, not even a pet. I died like that, and I'll bet my captor was laughing all the way through it. Since then, I have been killed and revived in a number of different scenarios, though each was in the same room. A fireplace in a room full of wooden chairs that resulted in me slowly burning to death in excruciating pain. A swimming pool with no means of escape was used to trap me, no ladder to climb out of, and the edges could not be held onto. Try as I might, my body succumbed to fatigue, and I met a watery, chlorine-cleansed demise. And on one occasion when the roof was actually open, the fates decided that I was not to live once again, hence the faulty kitchen appliance sending a surge of electricity through my body. I don't know who or what keeps bringing me back, why they do it, or how. All I know is that my entire existence seems to revolve around me dying in the most painful and obscure ways. It's like there's someone controlling my every move, someone who revels in seeing my many, many deaths. And to them, I say this: there's something wrong with you. If doing this is the only way you can be happy, if murdering me is what helps you sleep at night, then you cannot be considered human. To call you an animal would not be enough. Monster barely begins to describe you. I hope you burn in hell for all eternity. That was Room for One, Please. Final thoughts? Very unique. I've heard of a decent amount of creepypasta with a similar idea to this before, but the twist of having it actually be a Sim story really did add something. On top of that, the verbose and descriptive vocabulary made what could have sounded very generic a lot more interesting. Although I did catch a few typos and the story could have used a little bit more peer editing, I think this was a very solid story, and I'd love to read more stories by Timey-Wimey Lord. This was both a very pleasant surprise as well as very refreshing to see a Sims creepypasta. I think that the Sims series has a lot of potential for very, very good creepypasta, so I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone else is interested in making some. That's it for this week's creepypasta. Tune in again next week when we tackle yet another story made and sent in by the fans, with a rewrite of May's Revenge. If you want to write your own story, help peer edit a story, or even just read the stories early, check out the description where you'll find a link to the creepypasta section of my forum. You'll also find a link to the playlist of every creepypasta reading I've done. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.